Good morning. Welcome to 49ers in 5, your daily update on everything happening with the team that you need to know. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. Here's what's happening with your San Francisco 49ers. OTAs, for some, and media sessions are happening with the 49ers. Before we get to all of that, though, let's just start with quick attendance, okay? Brock Purdy?
Here.
Okay, good. Nick Bosa?
Here.
Excellent. George Kittle?
Here.
Very good. Juwan Jennings? No, Juwan? Okay. Christian McCaffrey? Christian McCaffrey. All right. Brandon Aiyuk? Brandon? All right. You get the point. No Brandon Aiyuk. No Juwan Jennings. No Christian McCaffrey. That's not great, but keep in mind, these are voluntary workouts, right? So we can't get too upset. Guys have every right not to show up if they don't want to. Christian McCaffrey thing may get interesting if he wants more money. I wonder if the 49ers have budgeted for that. We know Brandon Aiyuk wants more money. For now, we wait. Moving on to the media sessions. It was Kyle Shanahan's turn behind the mic yesterday, and he was asked about how the Nick Sorensen-Brandon Staley relationship is going to work.
Bring Staley, do you kind of arrange how that relationship is going to work, or are Nick and Brandon kind of figure it out?
I mean, I'd have to arrange it. I mean, if there's a problem, but there's no. I mean, Nick knows who the defensive coordinator is. I mean, and Brandon does. I got to talk to both of them. I think Brandon's in a real good spot, just leaving from being a head coach and how he can help us in a number of roles. I think Nick feels very excited to have a guy on the staff who's called plays, who's done it in a number of different places and things, and I think he's helped him a lot in those ways. But no, there's no really gray area of it. Brandon's helping him on a lot of things, just like all the other coaches do on the defensive staff. And with Brandon's expertise just in other areas than just defense, with his expertise as a head coach and things, I thought he was a real benefit in the draft and helps me in a number of areas also.
That may have been a Freudian slip, but damn, did it come at a bad time. Look, you know my position. I believe the 49ers wanted to hire Brandon Staley, but didn't want to take the criticism. So they went with this weird Nick Sorensen, Brandon Staley combination thing. I think Staley's the DC in every way but name. And that answer from Kyle Shanahan did nothing to change my mind. Let's hear a little more from Kyle now. We know Brandon Aiyuk and Juwan Jennings weren't there. That's good news for Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowling, right?
Yeah, I always think the more reps you get, the more experience you get, the more different situations you can be put in. I mean, if you're talented enough and made of the right stuff, you only get better. But sometimes it's hard to generate those things, especially in a practice when it's not full speed all the time and things like that. So the more reps you can get of it always helps the right type of player.
The NFL is a cutthroat business, man. There is always somebody coming to take your job. Sometimes guys that sit out fine, they aren't quite as valuable as maybe they thought they were. Last one from Kyle Shanahan. Now, Kyle, what is the best part about having a healthy Brock Purdy for an entire offseason?
I mean, he's definitely ahead of where he was last year this time, but I mean, it was just real cool being able to go through a whole year of cut-ups just like we did last year, and just starting in phase one, the command he had of going out there with the drills and everything and really trying to apply the stuff we had just been watching in the meeting rooms that really happened all off our 2023 tape. Last year he had to do it, and then it would just be frustrating for him because he couldn't really go work on it. He had to just visualize it and think about it and had to wait for that opportunity in training camp. This year, right away, it's been awesome for him to lead us through the whole offseason, just drill-wise and everything. He's been great to have for a first full offseason.
Very cool. That sounds promising. But let's ask Brock Purdy the same question. Brock, how are things different for you this year?
I just think with the playbook and, the play calls and all that kind of stuff, it feels a little bit more smoother. It registers in my mind a lot quicker. So when I go out there, I know what we're doing. And then, now it's where can I get the ball to the right guy faster. And so sort of just processing those kinds of things helps. At quarterback, you can, obviously continue to work on your arm strength and all that kind of stuff, but I think just the way you process, the way you go through reads, you can't get enough reps. And so that's where I'm at. Obviously, watching the game tape, coming into practice, and now running those plays right now during OTAs for me is huge. So getting better with different concepts and getting more comfortable and familiar more and more with the verbiage. So it's been good.
It sure seems like Purdy himself seems to think he can get a heck of a lot better, and that, if true, is very scary news for opposing defenses. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on this Wednesday. If you want a detailed recap of what took place on the field yesterday and who looked good, who didn't, Matt Barrows has it all for you in The Athletic. Highly recommend clicking the link in the description of this episode. One thing to watch. Oh, you know I'm excited for this. Brandon Staley meets the media today. I can't wait to hear from him. The Niners released his title as, quote, assistant head coach / defense. I don't know what that means. First question, Brandon Staley. What would you say you do here? One thing you may have missed, Nick Bosa was in attendance. A lot of Niners beat writers made a big deal out of that because that had not been the case in recent years. But I thought Kyle Shanahan made a good point in his media session. He pointed out that Bosa's had some kind of extenuating circumstances, right? After his rookie season was COVID, so nobody showed up. Then the year after that, he was rehabbing his knee injury. So this has sort of been the first kind of quote unquote regular offseason for Nick Bosa, and he's here. So maybe it's not as big a deal as some people have made it out to be. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell so you get notified every single time we go live, which is every single weekday for you. Today, I will be live with Grant Cohn, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Grant has a couple of ridiculous articles out that I plan on calling him out on. Plus, I want to get his reaction to what took place at OTAs. So we'll get into all of that again today at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. Enjoy your Wednesday, everybody. We'll talk later today.